Good morning, it's meteorologist Jeff Gerber, and we're going to give you the latest on Tropical Storm Ida, which is quickly strengthening out there in the Caribbean. Looks like it'll probably become a hurricane maybe later on today. As we look at the satellite for Ida, continues to work its way just south of Cuba. Will be working its way over the western tip of Cuba as we go into, looks like a little bit later on this afternoon. Continues to strengthen as it moves off towards the north and west, and we'll continue to watch the center of the storm, which is about right in here, move off to the north and west. The image starts off dark because this is a visible satellite, and when it started at 6 o'clock this morning, the sun wasn't up. So now the sun's up, you can see the clouds. So that's why it goes from dark to light there on the visible satellite. A lot of folks watching. I appreciate you all watching. We'll continue to look at the track for this storm. It has shifted a little bit, but not a whole lot, and it's not a big concern that it has shifted a little bit. We are expecting shifts in the forecast track as we go through today, tomorrow, and even into Sunday. It gets a little bit closer to land. All right, here's the latest on Ida. Right now, winds are up to 65 miles per hour. Not quite a hurricane. It's got to get to 74 to become officially Hurricane Ida. It's moving to the northwest at about 15 miles per hour. You can see tropical storm warnings are up for western sections of Cuba there as it's getting ready to move over that part of the world here probably over the next 3 or 4 hours. You can see it moving over into the Gulf of Mexico. By tomorrow morning, they expect it to be a Category 1 hurricane with winds at 85 miles per hour in parts of the eastern Gulf of Mexico there. As we head into the weekend, Saturday night, they expect it to become a Category 2 hurricane, winds at 105 miles an hour. By Sunday morning, 7 a.m., they expect it to be a Category 3 hurricane with winds at about 120 miles per hour. And as it comes into parts of southern Louisiana, they are expected to make landfall sometime around Sunday evening, Sunday late night as a Category 3 hurricane with winds at 120 miles per hour. This track is maybe just slightly to the west from what we saw earlier today. Once again, it's just a slight shift, and expect to see those shifts as we go through the next couple of days on each track. Each track's not going to be exactly where the last one was. It'll be shifted a little bit here and there. So right now, this one's just shifted a little bit back towards Vermilion Bay, but nothing, at least here in southeast Texas, to be concerned about. It's not much of a shift there. As we head into Monday morning to 7 a.m., winds drop down just below hurricane strength as it looks like it's right about around Baton Rouge. And then as we head into Tuesday morning, expected to be into Mississippi, and it'll continue to work northeast from there. By Wednesday morning, it'll be up into parts of northern Alabama and Tennessee. The worst part of this storm, of course, like we've been telling you, is going to be this section right in here. Everywhere off towards the eastern side of this storm, they're going to get storm surge, heavy rain, a lot of wind, and that's where the problems are going to be. Most of the problems are going to be for this storm. That does include New Orleans area. They're going to be real close to the center of this storm. Then, of course, you've got Biloxi, you've got Mobile there. Also, Baton Rouge looks like right now the track's going to take it right over the top of Baton Rouge as we go into this weekend. So friends and family over in that direction, we definitely want to look out for and continue to watch this track. We are not in the forecast cone right now. I don't expect to be in the forecast cone, but we'll continue to watch it. Now, there are some tropical warnings and watches up right now. The areas you see on your screen in the red, that is a hurricane watch right now, and that includes parts of Cameron Parish, Jefferson Davis Parish, into parts of south central Louisiana, including the Lafayette area. They're all under a hurricane watch because they're expecting to see hurricane force winds, gust, anywhere from 74 and higher. The areas you see in the orange there, including Lake Charles, Calcasieu Parish, Vernon, Beauregard Parish, they're under a tropical storm watch. That means they could see tropical storm force winds, which go from 39 miles per hour and higher. When you get over into Calcasieu Parish, Beauregard Parish, probably what we're looking for there are maybe some wind gusts up around 40 miles an hour possible. That's why they issued the watch over that direction. It's very possible they don't see wind gusts like that at all. They're just issuing that watch because they are on that far side of the cone. They're on that edge. So they issued a tropical storm watch out for Calcasieu Parish, Beauregard Parish, and up towards Vernon Parish there. We have no watches or warnings here in southeast Texas. The watches stop right there at the Sabine River. We have nothing as far as any watches here in the immediate area, so just to let you know that. All right, let's take a look at the computer models. Once again, they're all mainly tracking up through south central Louisiana, up towards Lafayette, Baton Rouge. Only a couple try to take it over to Texas, a couple outliers there. So still a very good consensus with the computer models that this track is a good one that we're having on. It's a pretty high confidence track. Like I said, there'll be little shifts here and there, but I don't think there's going to be a big swing one way or the other with this potential hurricane as we go through the weekend into early next week. I want to show you the European model I've been showing you the last couple of days. European models maybe a little bit farther west than what the track is right now, but it was showing that same track on the European model yesterday, right up through Lafayette and then off towards the north and east. And then the American model, once again, it's probably a little bit more towards the west than it was yesterday, but not much. It goes to maybe just to the east of Lafayette and once again then back up towards the northeast. And we noticed none of these models are slowing down. The storm moves across the coast and continue to move off towards the northeast. So that's what we're looking at for both of those models, and then they kind of move off towards the northeast there. Once again, I don't think you need to change much from what you were doing before, even though it looks like at this point we'll be fine here in southeast Texas still. Make sure you have supplies, make sure you're keeping updated on the forecast over the weekend, and be weather aware this weekend as the storm moves through the Gulf of Mexico. Just kind of keep an eye on it. You know, every once in a while, kind of check in on their social media, and we'll give you the latest update of what it's doing. Like I said, I wouldn't sit around all weekend worrying about it, but I would kind of keep an eye on it just to see what it's doing for the weekend. I know I'll be watching very closely. I have friends and family over in Louisiana. My son lives in Baton Rouge, and he's going to come to Lake Charles and stay with his mom for the weekend because he doesn't want to be in the path of the storm as we head into this weekend. So he's going to move or drive out of Baton Rouge early on Saturday and come over and stay with his mom who lives over in Lake Charles there. Once again, we'll show you the satellite, and this thing is starting to wrap up. It's going to intensify fairly quickly, it looks like, once it gets into the Gulf of Mexico. Warm waters out there, plus high pressures overhead. There's nothing to shear it. So it's a really good environment for quick intensification, and we're probably going to see that. I'll show you the track one more time. Over Cuba today, into the Gulf of Mexico, Category 1, 85-mile-an-hour winds by Saturday morning. Saturday night, winds up to 105, Category 2. Sunday evening, looks like it's going to be real close to the south central, southeastern coast of Louisiana as a Category 3, winds at 120 miles an hour. Could it be even stronger than that? There's potential for that. And then as we get into, Monday morning, 7 a.m., it looks like by Baton Rouge with winds at about 70 miles per hour. I do have up all the comments, and I didn't do a very good job yesterday of reading all the comments and answering them, so I'm going to try to do a better job for today and take and look at all these comments and make sure I answer some questions people have. People watching from all over, Groves, Orange, Beaumont, that's great. I'm glad to see folks watching from all over the place. Rose Pine, good morning, everybody. Let's see. Nancy, yeah, it shifted just slightly to the west. Once again, I don't think we need to worry too much here in southeast Texas. Now, if it continues to shift west, of course, but right now we're still out of the cone of uncertainty. And like I said, we're expecting these little shifts here and there. It could shift back to the east on this next update, or even could shift a little bit more to the west over towards Vermilion Bay. But I still think we'll be okay. I think we'll still be kind of just to the west of that cone, so I think we'll be fine. Just too far away. Right now, the track takes it about 150 miles to our east, and you usually don't see hurricane force winds out 150 miles. More likely, you see them generally out to 30 to 60 miles or so away from the center. So, Yeah, so we're all praying for Louisiana, that's for sure. We have lots of friends and family over there, so we don't hope it doesn't get too bad. But I'm really worried now for places like the extreme southeastern coast of Louisiana and New Orleans. I'm hoping this thing doesn't tear it up too much as it comes in. We'll have to wait and see. Hopefully it'll weaken fairly quickly, and the winds, once they get to New Orleans, won't be too bad. We'll have to wait and see. Let's see, orange, hey there, hey everybody. Yeah, people in Lake Charles still trying to clean up from Laura. If you go over there, you can see the scars from Laura all over the city of Lake Charles. Those folks have really been trying to get cleaned up over there from the storm. So let's see. For watching from Lake Charles, good to see you. Yeah, Laura did turn at the last second, but I just don't see that with this one. Like I said, even Laura's turn wasn't a huge turn at the last second. It was a turn, but it wasn't a big shift. And we're not expecting a big shift with this track either. It might drift a little bit farther to the west of the track, but we're not expecting enough of a shift to the west that will really affect southeast Texas here. If you live in southwest Louisiana, once again, if it shifts a little bit farther to the west, you might get a little bit in the way of some winds, but still not the brunt of the storm like they're going to be seeing in like New Orleans and places on the east side of the storm. It will be nothing like Laura, that's for sure. You won't see the winds like that. And right now, the chances of it hitting more towards southeast Texas are pretty slim. Like I said, we could still see some slight shifts, but I think the track is fairly set with some little minor fluctuations. That's about it. And no, we don't, like I said, watch over the weekend, but I don't think you all, at the last second, we're all going to be running out of here on Sunday because it's coming right for us. It doesn't look like that's going to happen. I would be shocked, very shocked, if that storm all of a sudden shifted over into southeast Texas. Yes, everybody has a bunch of friends over in Louisiana. I know a lot of folks over in New Orleans as well. You got to be praying for those folks. I'm glad to see a lot of those comments. The border of Texas, Louisiana going to be okay? Yeah, I think so. I think right along the state line. I think still too far off towards the west to really see any effects from the storm, even though it's going to be a Category 3. I still think the more the effects are going to be closer to the center of the storm. Usually, like I said, the hurricane force winds only extend out 30 to 60 miles. So places like Lafayette could get some pretty good wind, a lot of rain. Baton Rouge, New Orleans, those are going to be the ones that will be closer to the center of the storm. Newton County also, I think, too far off towards the west to really get too much. Yeah, we might get, it's going to be breezy on Sunday, and we can catch a little bit of rain, but it's nothing going to be like what they're going to see over, like I said, in the southeastern part of the state of Louisiana. Do we have another one out there that's going to be coming our way? Some of the computer models were showing another storm behind this, but today they've dropped that. They really don't see those showing up on the computer models, so it kind of disappeared. But there was another one out there that was looking like it was heading more towards the Bay of Campeche, Mexico kind of deal. So we haven't really talked much about it just because it was there and now it's gone. So hopefully it'll stay gone, but right now we don't see anything else out there over the next couple of weeks or so. Are they predicting it to continue to shift east after it makes landfall? Yeah, and you can see the track here. After it makes landfall, they predict it to move east-northeast up into Tennessee. So it's not going to drift over into Texas. It's actually going to make that curve around the high-pressure ridge, and it's going to move towards the northeast. So still, it's going to be curving away from us. Once again, let me show you the warnings we have out there, because you might be seeing some things on your phone, or that there are some watches out there. There are a couple of watches. One in the area in red here is a hurricane watch, which includes the eastern half of Cameron Parish, includes Lafayette, Opelousas. Then the other in the orange is a tropical storm watch. That's because anywhere they think could get wind gusts between 39 and 74 miles an hour, they're going to issue a tropical storm watch. And they think maybe on the On the backside of this storm, you could see some wind gusts up to maybe 39, 40, 45 miles per hour, Calcasieu Parish, places like that. So they issued the watch there, and then in the areas in red could see hurricane force winds, which is 74 and up. So that's why they've issued those watches there. Just because they've issued a watch doesn't mean that they're going to see those type of winds. But they have issued those watches. There is no watches, nothing in parts of southeast Texas. We are not under any type of watch, and I doubt if they would issue anything for us unless that track would shift more even off towards the west, which we're not expecting at this point. So once again, we'll go back to the track here. People just tuning in want to see the latest. Once again, over Cuba into the Gulf of Mexico, Category 2 hurricane by Saturday night, and then they're tracking it up close to right around Homa, coming in around southern Louisiana, southeast Louisiana as a Category 3 hurricane, winds at 120 miles an hour. It looks like sometime Sunday night, and then slowly making its way up into Louisiana through the morning hours on Monday. So that's the latest track from the Hurricane Center. Once again, it's just slightly west of what it was earlier this morning, and we expect these small changes in every time they update this. I'm sure it's going to move one way or the other just a little bit, and that's just the nature of tracking a tropical system. Yeah, orange looks like they're going to be safe. There shouldn't be minimal effects in the orange area, maybe a little breezy on Saturday and Sunday, but at this current track, we should be fine here in southeast Texas, all of southeast Texas, including Newton County, Orange County, Jefferson County, Hardin, Tyler, and Jasper counties. What's the difference between windstorm from a storm surge in reference to flooding during a hurricane event? Not exactly sure what you're asking, but storm surge, of course, is an upwelling of water coming in front of the hurricane itself. So it's basically water rising up along the coast where wind, more of a wind damage would be your surface winds and things like that would damage something. I think that's what you're asking. I'm not sure exactly what you're asking there. So, but the storm surge is an upwelling of water that comes up from the Gulf of Mexico that rises up, that kind of basically builds on top of itself until you've got several feet of storm surge or water being pushed up by the storm itself, the rotation of the storm itself. So, yeah. Yeah, Tanya, it is possible for it to shift a little bit more towards the west, but in order for us to really be affected by this, we'd have to see a track coming in probably somewhere west of Vermilion Bay. If the track would shift over in that direction, let me see, if the track would be more southwest Louisiana, that would put us more in the area where we would be affected by it, kind of like Laura was when it came through. Yeah, it'd have to be shifted over in that area, even shifting even a little bit more to the west, over towards maybe the west side of Vermilion Bay there. Still, I don't think we'd see too much of an effect from that. They would issue maybe a tropical storm watch for us, but it would still have to shift a lot more farther off. I don't see that happening. The track we had earlier this morning was about right in here, and now it's right here. So it's just shifted very slightly off towards the west. So don't be concerned too much about that little bit of a shift. Next update, it could be over here. It could be back to the original track over southeast Louisiana. We're going to see these little shifts every update. That's just, like I said, the nature of it, and that's just kind of the way it works. It will shift here and there, back and forth a little bit. I'm sure it'll switch. It'll be between that, probably anywhere between here and I imagine here. That exact track is going to be in between those two areas over the next day or so. So don't really pay attention to the center of the storm. These exact little shifts here and there, because it's not going to make much of a difference from us. It really have to shift a good good way to the west before we'd be affected here in southeast Texas. So watch the cone, see where the cone edge is. That's one good thing to kind of see. And that cone edge right now is not into southeast Texas. So that's a good thing for us. It does come into southwest Louisiana just a little bit, and that's why they've issued the tropical storm watch for, say, Calcasieu Parish, which could get tropical storm force wind gusts. Could, not saying that it will. So, yeah, Sydney, you're right. Storm surge is the rise in seawater level that's caused by the storm. You're exactly right. Yeah, there's not going to be any evacuations. The way that's tracking right now, nobody will be evacuated here in southeast Texas, so you don't have to worry about that. Like I said, minimal effects around here, just a little breezy, catch some showers. I don't see this storm coming over top of us, and I don't see us evacuating anywhere. So I wouldn't worry. I wouldn't be concerned about that at all, even though it has shifted slightly to the west. Like I said, these little shifts are going to be natural. That's normally what happens. Any part of Florida affected? Well, yeah. The Florida Panhandle is going to see some storm surge, even though they're well away from the center of the storm. They still could catch some storm surge. Depending on how large the storm gets, and they're going to be on that east side, so Florida Panhandle looks like it's going to probably be pretty wet coming up as the storm gets a little bit closer to them. So we're talking about maybe late Saturday through Monday. They're going to get a lot of rain. Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, Florida Panhandle. They're going to get they're probably going to be getting upwards of at least 5 to 10 inches of rain, I would think, in that part of the southeastern U.S. So even though that storm's going to move fairly quickly, still that east side is going to be the wetter side and the stronger side of the storm. So they're going to get quite a bit of rain through parts of the southeastern U.S. What's expected in Vermilion Parish? Right now, they could see some hurricane force wind gust. They're under a hurricane watch, which means they could see some hurricane force wind gusts. So definitely could see some wind gusts there, upwards of maybe 75 miles per hour. Even though they're going to be on the west side of the storm, they could still see some fairly hefty wind gusts. I'm not saying sustained winds, but some wind gusts. And also they could catch a pretty good dose of rain, maybe 3 to 5 inches of rain on that near the center of the storm on the west side of the storm. Yeah, the closer to the center of the storm, of course, like I said, the worse you're going to be, and that's going to be, looks like it's going to be tracking up towards Houma and back up towards Baton Rouge. Yes, just to be clear, Beaumont is in the clear right now. We don't have anything to worry about. It's too far off towards our east to really affect southeast Texas here. When we're talking about all of southeast Texas, from Burkeville down to Orange, Buna, Kirbyville, Woodville, Lumberton, Silsbee, Beaumont, Sour Lake, Winnie. Everybody right now will see minimal effects. Port Arthur, minimal effects from this thing. We are not going to expecting to see the storm itself close enough to us to really cause any problems. So at this current track, we'll be fine. Now, even if it shifts a little bit more to the west, I think we'll still be fine. It'd have to make a really big jog off towards the west before we'd see effects from it. It's just too far off towards our east right now to give us much in the way of any effects across southeast Texas here. Yeah, once again, Port Arthur, even though you guys are down there closer to it than in Beaumont, still you're too far to the west, just like here in Beaumont, just like in Orange, too far away from it to really feel any effects from the storm. Yes, apparently we are fine, yes. Like I said, it would have to track up closer to, say, Lake Charles, Jennings, Louisiana. The track would have to shift that far off towards the west before we'd start to feel something across southeast Texas here, which we just don't see that track taking that big of a shift. So, but as I mentioned, please kind of stay weather aware for the weekend. Check in every once in a while on social media, Facebook, Patrick or I's Facebook, and we'll give you updates on what's going on, just to keep abreast of the situation. I wouldn't worry about it this weekend, but I would just check in every once in a while and see what's going on as far as the current track. But like I said, it wouldn't be something that was in the forefront of my mind this weekend. It'd be something I would do when I get a break from working in the yard or playing with the kids or whatever you're doing, and say, hey, let me see what that storm's doing, and just check out on Facebook or something real quick, and you can kind of see what it's doing out in the Gulf there. But it's going to ramp up pretty quick. Like I said, the waters out in the Gulf of Mexico are warm. High pressure is going to be overhead. So it is a good recipe for this thing to really ramp up as far as becoming a major hurricane and then come on shore across southeast Louisiana. So once again, as we've been mentioning, those folks from Homa up to New Orleans, Baton Rouge, those are the folks that are really going to be on the eastern side of this thing with the wind and the rain, and they're going to be running into some problems there. So we got to feel for those folks. They always say Beaumont is in the clear, and then boom, we're stuck in it. Well, Sydney, I don't think we're going to be stuck in it this time. So if we are, I will personally apologize to you, but I don't think we're going to be stuck in it this time. I think it's going to be too far off towards our east. Yeah, and that's another thing. A lot of people you see on Facebook will be giving you kind of the worst case scenarios, and they will show you some tracks that possibly won't happen at all. Also, another thing that you need to watch out for is finding old posts on Facebook. Even they'll post something that I posted 2 days ago, and it might be an old track where the track is going over, say, Vermilion Bay or something. You got to make sure you look at those dates and the timestamps on those Facebook posts, because some of them are a couple of days old, and you got to make sure they say, you know, a few minutes ago or an hour ago, something that was just not too long ago. You want to get the latest post and the latest track. You don't want to be caught being tricked by one of these old posts where the track is not right. It's an older post that's from a couple of days ago. So, yeah. All right, I hope I answered a lot more questions than I did yesterday. Like I said, yesterday, for some reason, it wasn't coming across too much, and we didn't see too much. Yeah, I did mention New Orleans. New Orleans, like I said, is not in a good location on this storm, probably one of the worst locations you can be, because they are going to be right there on the east side of this storm, where they're probably going to catch some sustained winds, probably upwards of 100 miles per hour in the New Orleans area as it makes its way in. You know, we've got all those buildings there with the glass, and then, you know, they're going to catch a bunch of rain from this. It's just going to be interesting to see. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of media outlets that are going to base themselves in New Orleans and giving reports from New Orleans this weekend. So if you have friends and family there, I imagine you can just tune into any of the national media, and you're going to be seeing reports from New Orleans this weekend. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of folks that are going to plant themselves in New Orleans and kind of report from there. So I'm sure there'll be a plethora of New Orleans reports coming out this weekend as the storm goes by just off towards their east. Once again, possibility of shifting. Yes, over the next 2 days, that track is going to shift back and forth. It's just that's what it does. That's typical of a hurricane track, but it's not going to make a large shift one way or the other. It's going to be these small shifts, east and west, as they get more information in, and the computer models try to refine their forecast track. So yes, there are going to be small shifts here and there in the track, but they're not expected to be any large shifts where it's going to really veer to the west or really veer off towards the east as we go towards Sunday night as it makes landfall. So Monroe, Louisiana, those folks will be on the west side of the storm, and by the time it gets up there, the winds will be coming down, but they'll get some rain from it. It'll be a little breezy, especially as we get into, looks like Monday night for them. Monday night, maybe early Tuesday as it goes by. But they should be just far enough off towards the west there that they we'll maybe a day or two of some rain and gusty winds, but nothing too bad. It looks like up towards them. So Natchez, Mississippi, once again, they're going to be on that eastern side, so they're going to get a lot of rain. The winds probably won't be as bad for them, but they're definitely going to get a lot of rain for Sunday into Monday. So. And yeah, and right now, like I said, a lot of folks just worried about the shift in the tracks, and they're going to be small shifts. That's just the way it is. But we're not expecting any more large shifts in the track. Panama City definitely might get a little bit of storm surge depending on how big this storm gets. Once it gets into the Gulf of Mexico, they're going to get some rain over the weekend. Looks like it's going to be a rainy weekend for them. How much rain they get, might be 3 to 5 inches or something like that, but they're definitely going to be getting some rain in that part of the Gulf of Mexico. And right now, Amanda, we're not expecting anything. Minimal effects here in southeast Texas. Maybe some scattered showers over the weekend. We're not expecting any strong winds or anything like that. We're just too far to the west side of this storm to get any effects. You can see we're not even in the cone of uncertainty there on the graphic. So I think we'll be fine as far as southeast Texas here. Right now, we're not expecting any real effects from this storm. So. All right, I'm hoping I answered a lot of questions for folks. I've been doing this about 30 minutes. Wow, okay. So, yeah, once again, just kind of stay aware of everything this weekend. And like I said, check in social media or turn on the TV, the national news or something, and just kind of see what the storm's doing. Looks like it's going to be making landfall on Sunday evening. So Saturday, maybe check once or twice just to see what's going on. Like I said, we will see some small shifts in the track, but we're not expecting anything large as far as big jumps in the track from one way or the other as we go through the next couple of days. Right now, winds are at 65, moving to the northwest at 15. They're expected to be a major hurricane as it comes into Louisiana on Sunday night. No, there is not another storm coming this way after this one makes landfall. There is nothing that's expected to come in. So, James, that one point there was looking like there was going to be a storm that kind of backs up this one as far as going a lot farther south, Mexico. But that one is not materializing on the computer models now. It's kind of falling apart. So, yeah. All right, I appreciate everybody watching the live stream. I'm sure Patrick will probably have another one. Chief Meteorologist Patrick Vaughn will have another one later on tonight just to kind of give you an idea of what's going on. And like I said, kind of keep abreast of what's going on over the weekend. Of course, Christiana will be here doing the 6 and 10 o'clock newscast tomorrow, and she'll give you the latest update as well on what's going on with Ida. Everybody have a good afternoon, and we will be talking to you soon. Have a great weekend, everybody.